Hello guys, welcome to Charities Bubble USA, your number one channel. I think I'll just go to the other side. I am here coming from work, guys. I normally don't work on Mondays, but I switched my days. So instead of working Sunday, I was requested to work on Monday, and that's why I'm coming from work right now. Today is the 30th. Can you imagine? It is the 30th of April. So tomorrow is the 1st. We only have 4 days. Just 4 days to check the DV lottery. Can you imagine? After the time, you can remember the time that you applied and you double checked, and you had all that anticipation, and now it's back. But before we dive into that, my name is Charity Nganga. This is Charities Bubble USA, your number one channel. I am going home, and I want to talk about the 4th. Like I told you guys, I am going to be live that day. I know I will be tired because I will have come from work, but I will stay live for 1 hour. For 1 hour, I'm going to time... and we are going to talk about, maybe just guide some people if you are having trouble trying to log in. But remember, there's something that you need to know about that day, that it's gonna be, the website is gonna be flooded. Because remember, the people who are applied for the DV lottery are more than the number of visas that are given. Just the people who applied. People who live here in the US, they apply to the DV lottery. There are people in Canada, they apply for the DV lottery. There are people even in Britain, they applied for the DV lottery, like everywhere, So you can imagine the whole world. Everybody will be researching on that website. So it might be slow. You might be trying to log in, and then when you're logging in, it's not working. Don't panic. But let's go back and talk about what you will need for that day, because you will need to be prepared. And I hope that you remember what you require to have. The only thing that you require to have is your confirmation number. Remember that number that you got when you applied? There was that number. It's a computer generated number, and it's a very long number that you have to enter into that website. And then you're gonna find out. Ooh, my camera, my phone is falling. Oh gosh, my phone is falling. So there is that number that is very important. So I hope that you still have it, because if you don't, then you can't check. But there is a way that you can check, and I'm gonna try and go online and do it before Saturday. I hope that I don't get very tired, so that you can know if you have lost your confirmation number, what are you gonna do? Because you need to have a plan B, and it's always good for you to have a plan B. Like I said, as we were saved by the plan B, because this stuff about DV lottery that people talk about on YouTube, we didn't know that. And actually YouTube had not hit so much in Africa. I know only a few people knew about YouTube. And it's unfortunate, because I do remember, and I see it right now, like the disadvantage of people not knowing about YouTube and the internet and everything. Because when YouTube came, there were some people who started immediately. And that's where you find that in those countries that maybe if you're a musician or you're a comedian and your country has not restricted the laws of copyright, you find that those people were really exploited, like really seriously. They were exploited. Their work was used by other people. They would post the work that is not theirs, and they would get money from there. But I'm glad right now that if you want to post something that is not yours, you either have to pay for it, or you have to have all the rights. You have to be given rights by the the author or the producer of that thing, or the owner of that work, before you put it in YouTube, which is a very good thing, a very very good thing that helps even those people who cannot help themselves. I've seen, I look at some of the songs, like I know this very powerful musician, a very prominent one, and he sang a song, and that song had like, I don't know how many million views, but then looking at it, another person came into the social media and said that that person had the song that he was singing was from a previous musician. So I went and researched, and I found out that that song was a very old song that had been sung by a musician, and then this person came and they regenerated that song and they made it their own. I don't know, I don't like talking much, but I know that if they had asked for the rights of that song, or maybe have a negotiation and have, you know what I mean, if they had a good agreement, that's okay. But you find that here in the US, you cannot use another person's work, leave alone even music or videos or whatever. When you go to school, when you go to college here in America, and let's assume you're writing a paper, and I've seen that in nursing school, you're writing a paper, you have been told to write a paper, and you go, instead of writing the paper, you decide on your own that you are gonna use a paper that had been written by another person. If you do that, you risk to be expelled. I know some people who have been expelled from institutions. Something, maybe you are doing nursing, you are doing a very maybe lucrative degree, and then you used another person's work just to benefit yourself. Oh gosh, like you will be kicked out. So that, I just digressed a little bit because like I wanted to show you how YouTube came to help. So if, like, let's say for example someone goes into Charity's Bubble, and when they go into Charity's Bubble, I have my videos there, my 400 and some, and they download them, YouTube is not gonna allow them to download them. They will be charged. They sell, you have to pay a certain amount of money, which is good because it prohibits people from using other people's work. So that is just about the way that I was talking about. But in other words, what I was saying is that internet is good. So make use of the internet, and if you are selected, I need you to be familiar with the website of travel.state.gov. Be familiar with that website, guys, because that website has a lot of information. And instead of going to ask people who want to get money from you, then you will be able to do for yourself. You'll be able to fill out, to know what they require, the steps that you need to follow, and so many things that you will learn from that website. You know about the photo, you will know about so many things, because when you're going to get your passport, you will need to have a nice photo for the passport. You'll need to have a good photo for the passport. And then at the same time, when you go to get your visa, no, you don't need a visa. You don't need a photo for your visa, but you'll need a photo for your passport, which is very important. And you find that photo that is in your passport for your visa is the one that is used for, is the one that comes out when you get your green card. So you will know a lot of stuff. So have your confirmation number, know your date of birth, because it normally asks for the month and the year of birth. It doesn't ask for the date, but it normally, if you have to go and retrieve your confirmation number, it asks you for the month and it asks you for the year of birth. Those are some of the things that are very important that you have to do for yourself. Now, woe unto you if someone filled the DV lottery for you and then they kept your confirmation number. And that's why it's important for you to know that you can be able to retrieve your confirmation number from that website. So we are going to go there and we are going to do a pretend one and see if you're able to generate, maybe with the DV lottery that is that is ending. You can just put it there and see, just to an example and see what is required so that you can be able to get your confirmation number. And that's how I was able to get our confirmation number. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to get it. So this information is vital. It might feel like I am repeating, but I need you guys to know that it's important for you to go and check for yourself. Check for yourself. If you filled out with your spouse, check for your spouse. Both of you check together. And make sure that everything else is in order. Guys, when you win your DV lottery and maybe you are single, do not go getting married after you have found out that you have won the DV lottery. That complicates your stuff. It really complicates your stuff. Because if you go to May 4th, you get your you find that you have been selected. And then the next day, when you go to fill out your DS260, because you have to fill your DS260 like very fast, maybe you decide that you're going to fill out your DS260 maybe in after 4 weeks or maybe after 6 weeks. It's good to fill it out early. And then you add another person. And then you claim them as your wife or as your husband. You find that it prolongs your case. I'm not going to say 100% that you will be denied, because you can be valid. Sometimes maybe you had planned a wedding and your wedding was maybe on the next whatever, those things. But they will need proof, because you don't just meet a person and get married, no. But if you had a person and you had said that you are single, and then you had a person there, you will be disqualified, because those are the mistakes that they look at. They're like, this person, and I think that rule is there. Yeah, it is. I'm going to read for you here in a little bit. When I read, because I want to go through the rules again for the DV lottery. I had done it a while ago, but I think I should go through that. So don't add anybody. If you are in a relationship, you have your fiance, don't add them. Process your visa, come in the US, and then claim them, sponsor them. If you're a permanent resident and you want to get married, they won't stop you from getting married. There's a process, There's a process that you follow, and you're able either to get married, go get married with your fiance, either in your country or maybe you come here. And if you come here and you're not married, they give you a specific time for you to get married. But there has to be proof. There has to be like so many things that they look at. They look at what have you been doing together. Because if you're planning to be getting married, then there are some things that you should be doing together. So this is a caution. This is a temptation, because you find that there are those people who they just fill out the DV lottery for random people, and then maybe it was a single person and they wanted to join people. So they tell you, pay me 100,000, whatever a type of currency that you have in your country, and I have a person who has won the DV lottery. I'm gonna join you together and you're gonna go together. Now that can be a risk, because you find that it's very, 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 very easy for them to know. Because when they start asking about stuff like bank statements, stuff like, if you're getting married, maybe photos, family photos, like there's so many things that they will ask for, especially if they suspect that you are not being truthful. It's very, very easy for you to lose your visa. Even, like when people come here in the US and they get married, it doesn't matter for what reason. If you get married to a person here and you didn't have papers, and then the consular suspects that for some reason, for a certain reason, that they suspect that there is anything that is not adding up, I'm telling you, the chances of not getting a permanent residency is very high. And you find that I've seen people, they have been married, and then maybe the other spouse just found out, or they thought that that person was cheating on them, and then maybe they were just there to take advantage, to get papers, and then maybe they report them, or maybe they fail to be compliant with what is required, And then you find that that person's papers they are declined, and when they are declined, they say that it's a fraud. And if one fails, believe me, you will never get another one, because they have records. They don't. Here records don't get lost. You know. Oh my God, that reminds me that if you are maybe there are stories whereby you would go to the hospital, like the government hospitals, and then you'd have a case, or maybe a patient would have a case, and then maybe they would want, if an investigation was coming up, and then they would say that the file got lost. Here the file doesn't get lost. No, everything is online, is computerized, and records, they don't get lost. And why I'm saying this is that when we came in, we filed our citizenship after 7 years, I believe. Yeah, 6 or 7 years. So when we went for our interviews, like, I was very keen, like very, very, very keen. And I looked at, he had a file. So I saw the documents that we had brought with ourselves. Some of them we had filled them. I saw them. I saw the copy of our marriage certificate. I saw the copy of our of my birth certificate. Everything was there. And that was 7 years later. It was still there in the folder, because they follow up. So if you add people, if you want to add people, it's at your own risk. But the best thing is that if you have a fiance and you are not married, you find that you can claim them later. Now, if you fill out the DV lottery, if you win the DV lottery, and then maybe you have a child on the way, so regardless of if that child was born after you won the DV lottery, that one you report. You have to report as a change of life. Is it a change of life? Yeah. And then it's not hard, because you'll still add your child to the. You will still add your child, and the child will still benefit with you. They won't tell you that because that child was born, they are not going to benefit. No. Another thing is, if you had children who are 18 years old, and then by the time you go to get the visa, they will be 21 years old. You find that they will still go with you. They will still go with you, because they were 18 when either you did your application, or they were 18 when they turned 18, maybe when you checked and found out that you had won the DV lottery. You find that the children do not grow out. There's a law that protects them, that they do not age out. It's called aging out. So if they were 18 at that particular time when you did your application, or they were 18 at that particular time that you checked your DV lottery and you were selected, you find that those kids are not going to grow out. So you find that you'll still have to go ahead and go with them, even if they have aged out and they are not 18 anymore, which is a good thing, a very, very, very good thing. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about is grandchildren, grandkids. Grandkids. Now, for grandkids, you find that there are those people who maybe you had a child, and then you went and left them with your parent, and the parent is like the one who takes care of them. The only way that they can benefit from that DV lottery is if you have legally adopted that child. You have legally adopted them. It's not that just that you are, in Africa, and I'm going to give an example of, in my community, you find that, for example, if maybe my sister doesn't have kids, there was some instances where maybe if I had many kids, I would give maybe my sister, or most of the time you would give us your sister one of the children, and they would take care of them, and they did not need paperwork or anything. That used to happen. You find that if you have a child that you have been taking care of, either it's your sister's child, or it's your daughter or your son's child, unless you have legally adopted them, they cannot benefit from that DV lottery, because it is not for the grandchildren, it's for the nuclear family. So you have to know, it's important for you to know that, so that when you are going to fill out your paperwork, you know who is supposed to be in this. And it has to flow, because problems come in when it doesn't flow. Because you can say, when you did your application, maybe you stated that you had 3 children and you had a wife, and then when you won, there were other kids that you and actually, if you did not include kids, if there are kids that you left out, you can be disqualified, whether they are your stepchildren, whether they are adopted, whether you live with them, whether they were born out of marriage. It doesn't matter. You must have included them in your initial application. But if you did not include them and you want to add them after you have won your DV lottery, guys, you are not gonna get your visa. They will disqualify you for that. So you have to know all these things, guys, because I know that even there are some men who do the application, or there are some women who do the application and they are married and they have kids and they leave out their spouse and their children. Now, if they find out that that is what you did, then you're not going to get it, because they do a background check. They don't just give you a visa just like that. No, they do a background check. And they check. Maybe there was something that you had posted like 5 years ago on Facebook, and then you went and cleared your whole Facebook. Now that doesn't help, because the internet doesn't forget. It doesn't forget. I don't know, for some reason. And that's why I normally say, whatever you're posting on Facebook, know that you can own it. You can stand up and own it. Whatever you're doing online, know that maybe if one day your child, you're trying to correct your child, and your child started whatever questioning you, know that whatever you post online, you can stand by it. Know that when they are going to do the background check, the first place that they will go and look at your pages, or they will go and look at those, because that's the best way that you can know a person. Even when we look for jobs here, they look, like, for example, I am a registered nurse right now. I work with patients, and I know that wherever I work, they look at my page all the time, because I have a YouTube channel. Am I talking about my patients? Am I talking about my job? Of which that is something that can make me to be fired, because I'm not supposed to. I should know better than talking about that. So, and that's what I mean, is that whatever you post on the social media, make sure that it never comes back to bite you. So for me, yes, I am a registered nurse, but I can only talk on my part. I cannot tell you about my patients. I cannot tell you about the people that I work with. I cannot tell you about that. I can tell you that I was having a bad day or a good day, but that's it. I cannot talk about anything else. So what am I saying? What you post on social media is very, very, very important, guys. So know that, because you do not want to make mistakes, and you do not want to miss a chance of a lifetime because you posted something that went contrary to whatever you are doing. Maybe you had a girlfriend, you had a child, you posted them one day, and then you are not together, but the child was born, and then you say that you are single, you don't have kids, and then they go and find out that you had a baby. Oh, they are not going to give you that. So guys, I need you guys to be very, very careful, because there's some of these things that might make you not to get the visa. You have got a good opportunity, you have been selected, but you end up missing getting your visa because of these things. So guys, I've reached home. My garage is in a mess right now. We are renovating our kitchen. We are doing a lot of renovation, so we're just trying to make it look good. My husband is a handyman, so he does a lot of renovation. So we are kind of renovating. We had to get rid of our side cabinet. We might be able to buy another one. We have painted the windows. We're just trying to make our house look better by renovating. So guys, all I can do is to wish you all the best. I'm going to talk more about some of the things that you should not do, because winning the DV lottery does not mean that you have reached there. There's so many hurdles that you have to pass. Have you ever like watched that when people are running and they have to go like jumping hurdles? That's what that's kind of what you're going to go through, because winning the DV lottery is just the starting point. There's so many steps that you will have to undergo until you get your visa. And even when you get your visa, it doesn't, they even tell you there that getting a visa doesn't guarantee that you're going to be accepted, or they will let you enter. They will grant you entrance at the port of entry. So you still have, yes, you have the visa, but you still have that hurdle that you have to rich, because you might decide I got the visa, then you decide to carry other people, you know. People do crazy things, you know. So make sure that the story that you gave, let me call it a story, that story that you gave on your initial application sticks. Stick by it. Make sure that you don't have anything in social media that you posted and it will go contrarily to whatever, because even if you go and get the CID notification, you know, the background check from the police, that's not enough. You can only know a person better by maybe what they post on social media. Even me, if I don't know a person very well, the first thing, if I meet a person I really want to know them very well, I go to social media to check. And you find that there are some people who will be in social media, they have used different names or whatever, different handles. You find that the internet is like a virus. It's like a virus. You know, a virus is very hard to get rid of a virus. It's a virus. So let's assume like you had this one, you had called yourself this one, and then you decided to change. You know, I see people like just changing names on social media, and I'm like, what are you doing? You know, it still relates. It doesn't go away. It's like when you have cancer and then you are on remission, and then they tell you these are the meds that you're supposed to take, and then you say that you're not going to take them. It's going to come back, you know what I mean? Or maybe you have HIV, and the doctor tells you this is what you're supposed to take for your viral load to be low, and then you decided that when you go and get tested, and you start saying that you are negative. Yes, you will be negative because your viral load is going to be very low, but that doesn't give you the green light not to take your medication, because if you don't take your medication, the virus is going to go high and then you're going to end up dying, you know. So changing your status, like that status that does not change. So if you're diagnosed and told that you have cancer, you have HIV, it doesn't change. What changes is that, you know, that virus is not very active in your body, but that doesn't mean that your status has changed. So if you called yourself this in social media today, and then the next time you called yourself this, it doesn't matter. You know, the virus, it remembers. The internet always remembers. It does remember what you're doing. So all I can do, guys, is just guide. I can guide you because I've gone through the DV lottery. I've gone through, lived in the US now it's going to be 10 years on 20th May. It's going to be 10 years. So for 10 years, I know there's something that someone can get from me. You take what is good, and what is not good, don't take it. Just forget about it. But guys, I can wish you all the best and make sure that you're truthful and you're honest. So all the best, guys. I will see you in another video. Thank you and God bless you.